Okay, thank you very much. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the August 19th, 2025 meeting of the Litchfield Planning Board. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, I'll start with the roll call of members. Michael Croto, Chair.
Jared O'Connell, Vice Chair.
Jesse No, alternate.
Rita Riley, member.
Travis Tucker, member.
Jerry Robitaille, Secretary.
Okay, and not with us this evening is our ex officio member, Mr. Gannon. And Russ Blanchette. So we do have a regular member absent. I did believe he said he wasn't going to be here tonight. So Jesse, did you want to be the voting member
Yes.
in his place? All right, so we're going to appoint you as the alternate voting member. Okay, perfect. Public input on non-agenda items, items not on the agenda for this evening. Does anybody have anything that they wish to comment publicly about, anything that's not on the agenda tonight? Okay, hearing none, I will close public input on non-agenda items. We're gonna start with number one this evening. This is a site application, Dan Gable, property owner, Linda Jacobson, 502 Charles Bancroft Highway, tax map 21, lot 12. Is the applicant present this evening? All right, why don't you come forward, have a seat at the table, state your name and address, and introduce yourself to the board.
Hi, I'm Dan Gable. I live in Londonderry at 41 Sparhawk Drive in Londonderry. And I'll be teaching at Linda Jacobson's old place.
Okay. All right. So this has to do with a sign. I guess it's an application for a sign. And I believe there is some materials in here regarding this application. Some photographs, I believe. A couple of letters, and, okay. So this is for a, is it a pistol course? Is that,
No,
or a?
it's firearms, all firearms,
Training, is that what it is? Okay,
rifle, pistol, self-protection.
okay. Okay. And we have a letter from Ms. Jacobson dated June 16, 2025, that designates Mr. Gable to represent me at the planning board meeting regarding the sign application for signs to be placed on my property, 502 Charles Bancroft Highway, Litchfield, New Hampshire, 03052. Signs are needed in order for him to operate his business at my location. So we,
Sideways. That was better.
A little easier to see.
oh, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
Are there multiple businesses in this location? Didn't, we had somebody here.
He didn't stay.
Yeah, you're right. We had someone who was gonna wholesale automobiles or something. Yeah,
From the
I
April
remember that.
1st meeting.
So this is single tenant then, right? This is not-
Right.
I was gonna say, I didn't think there was that much parking over there.
As of now, she's changed her sign to read office suites, so.
Yeah, I saw that.
There's about 20 spaces back there, I think.
Oh, really? Oh. You're right.
I just have a question about the sign itself, because I remember from that April 1st meeting, you know, one of the things is that, you know, we would like to have the signs match the character of the building and to an extent the town as well too. Is there any intention on converting it from the sandwich boards to what Linda currently has at 502 CB Highway?
Not at this point. What we're gonna do is the signs change depending on what class is being taught. So it's not, so the top part of the sign, the whole sign changes, but the date, and then the date changes. So the pistol class, the rifle class, self-protection in the home, outside the home, concealed carry, all those signs change, and then the new date shows at the bottom. And, that's it. And that's it. We had to fit it in with this so she could have her one sign, so I had to combine it with her sign.
Yeah, okay, I see that. How do students find your courses? Is there a website or a newsletter? Or
Yeah, I have a website, and then also National Rifle Association is the main website that supervises all instructors internationally. And so most people go to that site first to look for courses, and then they'll find us under the different disciplines and see what dates are being offered. And then they just check, and it takes them through a full sign-up process, and then I get an email, and we establish contact.
Thank you.
I have a message from Paul Kelly at the fire department
Yeah,
that no classes should be held until the fire department inspects the building.
okay.
Even though Linda said that it was inspected when she first opened, but they need to get in there again.
So the inspector came today, and I went through the inspection with him.
Oh, good, good,
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
So I think for the folks at home, they should have the benefit of hearing what we're seeing, which is that your class is truly a classroom. There'll be no firing of weapons
That's correct.
of any kind. I mean, I just, for the folks at
Absolutely,
home who
yeah.
are probably like, what?
So we shoot at the Londonderry Fish and Game Range.
Yep.
And the class is totally academic. There's handling of firearms, but the firearms, there's no live ammunition allowed in the classroom. We use what are called snap caps, which is a dummy round, so they can learn how to load and unload and clear, and learn how to identify the proper rounds for the firearm. And then we go to the range. That's where it all comes together.
Okay. Thank you for
Yeah. No, it's,
clarifying so that
it's,
our friends at home can hear all
yeah,
that.
NRA is like really they'll send people out and they watch me teach.
So I have a question about, back to the sign. And to follow on Jesse's, question about where you find your students and that you have a calendar online that shows the classes that you have. Does your sign have to be something that constantly changes like that? Do you feel that that's integral to your business?
Oh, yeah, a lot of drive-by traffic sees it. In fact, I had two interested calls this last week because of the drive-by
Do
sign.
you think it's because?
Oh, I
of the-
definitely, yeah.
Okay.
So have you looked into alternative configurable signs that are more professional looking?
Yeah, I'm moving from Merrimack Firearms. They just expanded into the classroom and created a firearms secure storage area for people like estates, things like that. And so I lost the classroom. So I had an A-frame in front of Merrimack Firearms for an A-frame sign, and that is a cut-down version of the A-frame sign. So we could start teaching, but as we pick up more classes, I probably will refine the sign. I'm thinking, the problem is the space I have. It's very limited. You have to be able to see it from the highway too. That's difficult because when you're coming north, there's a little hill you cross, and then just before you get to the driveway that comes here, there's a hill cross, and then there's a sign over there. It's not easy to see. So that's the best we could do because I had to get the sign underneath her sign because it had to be one sign. She's allowed one sign.
You could probably make it wider and ever so slightly reduce the font size? Like,
Well, we might, that font size and that size is calibrated at reading a sign at 45 miles per hour at the distance that you can pick it up. It's the highway graphic font that's used in traffic signs.
So I'm looking at our zoning ordinance, which is section 1503.00, and this is refers to the district requirements for highway southwestern northern commercial district. This is in the northern commercial district, industrial district, commercial industrial district, and A through D. So A says each lot may have one freestanding sign with a maximum area of 32 square feet, not including reader board. Up to 32 square feet of reader board attached to the sign shall also be allowed. Each occupant of a multi-tenant building may have one additional sign not to exceed 4 square feet attached to the building. All size measurements made on the face of one side of the sign and exclude poles and mounting brackets. Signs may be double-faced. Fascia signs in front of the building may not exceed 35% of the length of the building occupied by the applicant and not more than 2 feet in height. Mobile signs will be permitted for new businesses within 6 months of opening on a temporary basis for no more than 30 days. Planning board approval is not required for temporary signs. Permit issued by the building inspector is required. All signs which are not attached to the building, this is not attached to the building, must be set back at least 10 feet from right-of-way or property line. So that's basically our ordinance. So just so for education purposes and to let the board know where we are.
So did I hear you correctly then that temporary signs are not allowed?
It says, planning board approval is not required for temporary signs,
They go through the building
but a
inspector.
permit issued by the building inspector is required for temporary signs.
I'm asking this question because given the nature of his sign and how it changes, it reminds me of something that you would find on a sandwich board, or A-frame, as you will. But that is a very, heavily traveled road. I have no idea what wind velocity goes through there, and I would hate for anything to be an impediment in the roadway of any kind. But that would lead me to that, and that would be separate, I know, I understand. But as a permanent fixture, it's not necessarily fitting with character and everything else, although I suppose that's not dictated in the ordinance.
Well, according to this, it doesn't really address, correct me if I'm wrong, a architectural or design, in terms of character. Unless it was in a residential district, then you'd be looking at architecture of the home and all that stuff. But we're not using that.
Yeah, 1500.01 does say complements the character of the zoning district and surrounding land uses, but that's about as concrete as we get.
And this is in the commercial
Yeah, just about like 2 pages up.
district.
Yeah.
so.
Goes up from an industrial property and,
And because it's changeable, I think we considered it reader board.
Right. Okay. So, so maybe I'll start. Joan, have there been, we have a completed application, I assume, that has been submitted and all fees have been paid by the applicant? Okay, and any abutters notified or?
No, because it's not a lit
It's-
sign.
Okay. So at this point, I guess, and Jay had an opportunity, did you have an opportunity to
Yes.
review this? Okay. So I think we would vote to accept the application for completeness, and then if we want to go further, we can. So at this point, this is really a paper exercise, that having completed the application and submitted the required documents and the fees paid, I'd entertain a motion to accept this application for the completeness.
So moved.
I have a motion by Travis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jeremy. Or any further discussion on the application for completeness? All those in favor of the application for completeness or acceptance, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 6-0-0. Okay, so we've done the application for completeness. Now, the next question is, does the board have any other questions regarding this sign application? Anything that you want to mention? Jay, you had an opportunity to review it. You have any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably struggled with some of the same issues I think the board is struggling with, but I mean, it meets the square footage requirements, it meets the setback requirements, so it does meet the requirements of the ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah, my only concern is in a fall, but with Latha there, as far as it being possibly blown into the road, not being a fixed sign. So, that may be a consideration.
I did assume it was attached to the main sign, but maybe the applicant could clarify how it is.
Yeah,
mounted.
right now, that sign is positioned to take a photograph.
Right.
Because that sign's not legal until you pass. Right now, there's a sandwich board sign to the right of that main sign.
Yep.
That's the temporary sign I paid for, right? And so that temporary sign is just to its right now with the same legend, right? But I took another sandwich board and positioned that to take a photograph so you could see what it would look like. But it will be attached actually between the two verticals. It will be attached to those two verticals. I can't attach it to the other sign. That's illuminated sign. It's powered.
I see. Okay.
No worries if not, but do you have any idea yet how you plan to affix them to the poles?
Yeah, it's going to be, the frame of the sign is going to have compression bolts that are
Okay.
going to push. Those are granite pillars, and they're pretty deep, so they can take, that's the way it's going to be. This is going to look something like that, all right? So it's going to have a little more white space on the sides. And right now, that's the font size, and that's the character size and character types that I used in front of the firearm store.
Okay.
That was designed to be read at 45 miles per hour. So we may change, as things go on, we may change the color of the characters to match her color. Because I've been consulting with her, because she did such an incredible job on the building. I didn't want to make it look real junky,
Right.
but that's what that's what I already had made up. Those signs are shipped to me by another company.
That helps, thank you.
Yeah, my concern would probably be that it looks like a temporary sign affixed to a permanent sign.
Yes, it is.
Uh,
It is. It's braced up there to take the picture.
And how will the permanent be different? How will it differ from what is pictured there?
It will fill the entire space below that sign. So the font height will change probably. And because you can see the white space on those sides are crowded right now, right? And it's going to have my phone number on the left side, right? But it'll fill that entire area. I'm concerned about her new tenants as they come along, what we're gonna do about that. I didn't realize, till you read it again, I've read that article several times, that in a multi-tenant building, there might be some adjustment. But she's done such a wonderful job on the building itself. It's really a pleasant-looking building. She actually has picked the stone colors. And I was concerned even about that, all right? So, that's where I want to start with. And then if the business picks up, then I'll invest in a much better sign.
Has the permanent sign been ordered yet?
Pardon me?
Has the permanent sign that will be affixed between the posts, has that been ordered yet?
No, I have to build it yet. I wanted to hear you guys out before I did that.
Yeah. Well, one thing to keep in mind is the speed limit there is 40, and though probably plenty of people don't follow that. A lot of people are also slowing down for the turn there, so
Yeah.
they're going to be going slower than 40 for
Yeah.
the turn at least. So it might make sense to go to a font for 40 miles per hour instead of 45,
Okay?
because it definitely looks out of place
Yeah,
size-wise.
Yeah.
And I've been able to read that sign, her sign,
Yeah.
in the past without a problem. And with the wider sign, will there be room below it? Will the aspect ratio be such that it's,
The aspect ratio will change, it'll be more horizontal.
you're not planning on saying your business name, just the class that's happening?
Yeah, it'll have the business name too. They'll have better, but because I'm reducing the font size, I can't crowd it because I need white space so people can pick it up. But it's gonna fill in the entire area down there below that sign.
Yeah, I wonder if you could do like a very narrow permanent sign that, like a permanent font sign that has the business name and your phone number, and then below that have the configurable area for the,
That's a good idea. That's a wonderful idea.
I think that could look a lot more professional.
Yeah, that sign is on that plastic that you see on the yard sale sign, the signs that plug into the grass, which is a standard, sandwich board size, all right? That's the sign that was used in front of Merrimack Firearms. And so I just slid that into the holder. That's a holder there, all right? So I'm free to design that better. I would like to make it look better too. So, like, use her font type and try to duplicate that font type.
Yeah, with your
Yeah,
business name and your phone number.
Yep,
And then below that have the configurable.
the reader board down there, right?
I
Well, and
think-
there's not gonna be that much real estate in the height department anyway, because at the end of the day, I mean, when it snows, right? I mean, yeah.
In fact,
No.
in
It's
fact,
gonna cover your sign, which you
Yeah.
don't want,
You're-
so.
you're right. In fact, I anticipated, when I thought I could have a standalone sandwich board sign, I was gonna place it in a planter to get it up out of the snow, because at Merrimack Firearms, the
Yeah.
snow did obscure my
I can see
dates.
that.
And I had to go out every day and
You'll be out
dig
there
the snow out.
shoveling.
I drive by CBH on my way to and from work, and when I first saw the sign, and I wasn't aware that there was another tenant in there. I was like, oh, like it just says basic pistol class, but I wasn't trying to look up online, who, where, and when, right? And it wasn't until reading the agenda that I saw your business name. So I don't know, just my perspective, seeing other professional businesses, usually it's the name of the business and contact info, right? And a lot of the classroom instruction, I think people would be maybe compelled or intrigued to go to your website, right, where they can see a calendar
Right.
of all the courses and how to sign up and things like that. I think that could save some real estate on your signage. And the gift of being one of her first or only tenant at this point is you have the opportunity of being on the sign, right? And any other folks that follow, in those like multi-use offices where they have like a directory on the front door, right, listing
Yeah.
their business names. But I think you have the gift here of coming a little bit earlier and hopefully making the sign match what's currently there, because it is a nice sign, and she took a lot of pride into building that. So I think us as board members want to see some consistency and a similar design language.
I don't know how she's going to handle a multiple tenant issue, because there's
Yeah.
only so limited area there. You go down the street, you go south, and you get to the small tube company, and they've got a huge sign with a huge reader board. I mean, a reader board that's like, you could put a book on it,
Right.
It's grandfather.
Yeah.
Grandfather.
All right, at this time, I'm gonna open it up to public comment. Is there any members of the public that wish to comment on this application this evening? All right, hearing none. I will close public comment. Bring it back to the board. What is the will of the board? What would you like to do? Conditionally approve?
I think, obviously the sign kind of conforms to all our zoning requirements, so I think that meets the mark. My only kind of concern is that it seems like I think it was questioned that maybe like a phone number might go on there. It just seems like maybe some of the kind of actual text is still up in the air, as well as maybe the dimensions. So, I know it says we're supposed to get like a proposal of the actual design that will go up. I wouldn't mind kind of conditionally approving in the instance that, we were provided the kind of final design, and then that would be fine, but that's kind of what I feel.
Okay. Anybody else?
can I ask him a question? Do you feel you've gotten enough from us to, if we were to conditionally approve and you come back for a quick look-see, do you feel like you've heard enough from us about what we're looking for?
Yes, I had, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I just gotta, because I'm teaching, so I'd like to start classes pretty quick, so I gotta start working on that sign at the same time, so.
Yeah. Understood.
I agree with Travis. I'd like to see also the fact of how it's to be permanently mounted to the granite posts, so that'd be fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't pick up on that.
The design of how you're gonna permanently mount it, so your expansion bolts or whatever it's gonna be.
Yes,
As part of your specs, you turn back and notice your final design.
yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, since I submitted this drawing in this picture, is I started looking at how I want to change the format to more of a horizontal format, and how I was going to mount it and get my name in there, and get my telephone number in there, website in there, and that's all right now in sketches. So I would be glad to provide a follow-up sketch before we go permanent, if you want to do that.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Great.
you're perfect.
So right now, my temporary sign is up, so I'll be working on that. When would you like to see that sketch? And
Next meeting.
How long is the temporary sign good for?
let's see,
30 days,
30 days.
Yeah.
yeah, it's 30 days, but do you remember when I submitted that?
about 10 days, a week ago.
So, will we, is there enough time by the next meeting for us to
November 2nd, yeah.
review this?
Yeah, I think so.
So we can table it to September 2nd,
Okay.
then?
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll have more final.
all right.
more
So
final-
what we can do is we can continue the hearing to September 2nd, but we're gonna need a motion to do that. So does anyone want to make a motion?
So it's the September 2nd?
Hearing?
Yeah.
Let's
Is
do
that enough
that
time for you? Do you think you have to design?
Is that,
by
yeah,
September
I
2nd?
should.
I think I could do that.
So I'll make a motion to extend this public hearing to September 2nd.
Okay, I have a motion by Jared. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Travis. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion to continue to September 2nd, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, abstain, motion passes 600. We'll see you in September.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, lot line adjustment at 94 Pinecrest Road. Adjustment is reducing a 3-acre lot at tax map 13 lot 20 into a 1-acre lot and adjusting the lot line with tax map 13 lot 19, creating a 27.6 acre lot after the adjustment. Owner applicant is Maurice Morin, 78 Pinecrest Road. Is the applicant present this evening? I think he is. Can the applicant introduce himself to the board?
Hi, good evening. My name is. This thing on?
Should be.
My name is Rob Deegan with S&H Land Services. I'm the surveyor for the applicant. Mr. Moran is here in the audience.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Okay. So we do have this is a lot line adjustment, and this goes under our, I believe subdivision and site review, subdivision control
Subdivision,
regulations, under 320.06. First of all, we'll look and see if we have everything we need for the application. Joan, have all fees been paid, abutters notified,
Yes,
and all paperwork been submitted?
Yes. Butters notified August 5th, and fees have been paid.
Okay. And Jay, have you had an opportunity to take a look at this plan?
Yes.
That it is for completeness and appropriate for acceptance?
Yes, the plan's
Okay.
complete.
All right. So I have fees paid, abutters notified, paperwork has been submitted, and the plan has been reviewed and is for completeness. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to accept the application for completeness. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
By Travis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jesse. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion to accept this application for completeness, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 600. Okay, so at this point, we've accepted the application for completeness. We're going to ask the applicant to make his presentation. So, you have the floor.
Thank you. So this is a pretty straightforward application. Mr. Moran is the owner of both lots here. The existing lot 19, which is a little over 25 or almost 25 acres, and existing lot 20, which is just shy of 4 acres. And what we're looking to do is, well, I mean, you all have it on your screens, I'm assuming. I brought handouts, but it doesn't seem like anyone needs them. We're looking to reduce the size of lot 20 to the minimum allowed in the zone. And then the intent is to develop lot 20, put a house on it, and lot 19 will remain vacant for now. We are requesting waivers from the regulations for all the topography and soils and wetland mapping, etc., for lot 19, under the justification that we're just making it bigger. So what we're doing here will not impact its suitability as a lot. And we have provided all of the same for lot 20 to prove out that it is developable. It's very good soil, Group A. There's no wetland in the area that's being proposed as the reduced lot. There was some wetland. Pull these clamps off of here. Oh, there it is. There's a wet area up here fronting along Albuquerque, but none of that comes into the proposed lot. And we're proposing to access off of Pinecrest. There's an existing entryway onto Pinecrest there, like a dirt drive, which would simply have a paved driveway put into it. Yeah, I really don't have a lot else to say on it.
Okay.
How close is the dirt driveway to the intersection of Albuquerque?
It's approximately a little over 100 feet.
Anybody have any questions for the applicant? See-
Tons.
Okay, well, don't
Hit me.
hold back.
Okay, so where to begin? All right. So currently, lot, the smaller of the two,
Lot 20.
lot 20, right? Yeah, lot 20, is 3+ acres. You're bringing that down to an acre. And you're shrinking that, if you will, down to that corner where
Correct.
Pinecrest and Albuquerque meet. So if that's the case, you said you're not requesting waivers on this portion, correct? On the,
Correct.
okay. So then your intent to request waivers on the remainder parcel, lot 19. Have we heard that? We haven't heard those waivers yet requested, right? I mean, what, you said topography and everything, but why do you need to ask for waivers if it's gonna be left unimproved at this time?
Because the regulations, subdivision regulations state that you provide all that data for the property under consideration. That's the standard. So we're asking not to do that because that constitutes a great expense for no benefit, because that lot is only getting larger. So if the purpose of those regulations is to ensure that we are creating, viable lots and not, traps for unsuspecting buyers, then there's no impact on the viability of lot 19 by making it 3 acres larger.
Okay, but does it preclude you, if you were to develop it in the future? I'm trying to understand.
Well, if Mr. Moran would like to develop that in the future, then he's gonna have to come back before this board and provide all the relevant information at that time. We're just asking not to do it now
Not to
in
do it
order
now.
to prepare this 1 acre lot.
Fair enough, I just wanted to hear you say it. Okay. And your buffers, you're well within the, yeah, because you're far away from the buffer, okay. I don't see, am I missing it? Okay, I see the septic. Do I see the well? Oh, no, we've got municipal water down here, right, yeah.
We did include the letter from the water company certifying they can provide service.
Okay. Joan, did you ask that question about the distance from the corner? Do we have a rule in there?
Well, we have a driveway or a driveway appendix, and I'm not sure what the footage is, but, 100 feet sounds reasonable. It's not right on the corner. It's good. We do have I think it's Appendix J, it's the driveway appendix.
All right, well, that's it for now, for me.
Anybody have anything else? Jay, you have any comments?
I mean, but for the waiver requests, it is a pretty straightforward application, and it is very complete. I think to the applicant's point, any further subdivision, proposed on the larger parcel would have to come back to the board, and at that time, you'd be able to address any of those issues or concerns.
Yeah, the minimum distance is 100 feet.
Yeah, it's 100 feet.
So do you just want to address the waivers for the sections that you've listed here in your request? And basically provide a justification for why you want the waiver? So from 1 through 9, so you have section 530.00B, boundary survey of entire parcel and location of all monuments. So,
I mean, the justification for all of them is the same, is that we feel it's an unnecessary expense because of, we're only making the lot larger, and it's just not worth the invested effort. I mean, the lot has been surveyed in recent memory as well, so there is, recent boundary lines were recorded. I believe the last time was when the end of Windsor Ave was subdivided. So the lot was surveyed at that time and has been monumented then. I admit I neglected to bring a copy of my waiver letter with me, so I don't actually have it in front of me.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
I'm struggling with,
because I was
we don't have
provided
any
with
of that.
this, which is the waiver
Yeah,
request.
it's
I
there,
made sure
it
to
didn't
submit it.
make it into the
Can
packet.
you pass
It
that
didn't
around?
make it, yeah,
I was gonna-
please.
Sorry about that, but
No, that's all right.
flying blind here.
And is it for the same for all the other waiver requests? Is that basically
That's
The justification.
Yeah, it's just we feel it's not
the
worth
expense?
it. Doesn't the benefit does not justify the expense.
Okay.
Okay. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
Jay, I think I already said, you already made your comments, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I would add to the waivers, I think they are reasonable, just given the size of the property and the fact that it's not gonna be developed, I think it is, the waiver request is reasonable. Requests are reasonable.
So these don't apply anyway because of
Anybody have anything else? All right, at this time, I'm gonna open it up to public comment. Does any members of the public wish to comment on the application and the request for waivers for this application? Okay. All right, hearing none, I will close public comment and bring it back to the board. What is the will of the board regarding this lot line adjustment? And obviously, we would have to address the waivers
Right.
as separately, so. If you wanted to entertain a motion for that, we can do that as well.
Did we want to hear from the public or any abutters?
No, I opened it up
Okay.
to public comment, and nobody said anything, so I closed it. So I brought it back to us.
I feel like it's fairly straightforward. Jay, do you think there's any kind of reason why we should be hesitant to not grant waivers in this case?
In this case, I don't think so.
Good.
I agree. There's nothing happening to the larger lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the point?
So for the motion, we should probably explicitly read out
Yeah, I will, just for the
9.
record.
Still with you, Jared. Inspector Allen.
So I will make a motion to grant the waiver requests for the Orin lot line adjustment, map 13, lots 19 and 20, specifically for lot 19, for the sections 13000B, D, E, G, H, J, O, R, and S, for the reasons discussed in this meeting.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so a motion by Jared, I have a second by Jeremy. Any further discussion regarding the waiver requests? All right, take a vote. All those in favor of granting the waiver requests from section 530.00B through S for the lot
It's
line.
not continuous though.
Right, lot line adjustment, map 13, lots 19 and 20, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Anybody abstaining? All right, motion passes 6-0-0, so that takes care of the waiver requests. As to the application itself and the lot line adjustment, do we want to entertain a motion? Does anybody want to entertain?
I'll make a motion to accept the lot line adjustment as given to us now.
Okay,
To approve?
to approve for tax map 13, lot 20?
Yep.
Okay. For map 13, lot 19, creating a 27.6 acre lot after the adjustment. I have a motion to approve by Jeremy. Do I have a second?
A second?
Second by Jared. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 6-0-0.
Thank you.
You're all set. Thank you.
It's gonna be interesting to see,
Waiver paper so I can scan that to the secretary.
it's gonna be interesting to see if they clear the corner that people complain about the visibility.
As far as my first time working in Litchfield, we'll get the corners set and prepare the Mylar. Do we just turn it into Joan and
One Mylar,
Yeah. So
chairman
you're gonna-
signs it, you record.
we record it? Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll get signed probably at the next meeting, and then you'll give me a call and say, come get it.
Yep,
Okay,
sounds good.
Okay.
simple enough.
All right. Okay. All right, next item on the agenda this evening, we have a public hearing tonight for the following site plan amendments. First one being the site plan regulations, section 120.15, supplemental design guidelines for the mixed-use village development alternative. And we have a site plan regulations, section 120.14, off-street parking and loading. And for this, I'm gonna turn it over to, Mr. Jay Minkara. Thank you.
Turn to the paper, whether I want to scroll through these. I do have a paper copy if you're interested. I'm just going to give a brief kind of overview highlight, because I think that we've been through these several times, so we're probably aware of what they are, but just for the benefit of those listening, at last town meeting, the town did adopt an amendment to the zoning ordinance to allow mixed-use village developments in the northern commercial zone. This is a direct outgrowth of that. So what this step is for the board to adopt regulations that specifically govern how those developments should take place in terms of overall layout, design. It includes standards for walkability is a major part of this, so for sidewalks, for how the developments should connect with each other and with commercial spaces, and general design guidelines for how the buildings should look, both the residential as well as the non-residential, regulations for landscaping and open space. And I said regulations, these are for the most part guidelines. They're providing really the picture of how we conceive these developments to be. And so kind of just walking through this visually here. The regulations also, or the proposed guidelines also include some illustrations that show, try visually what we mean when we talk about some of these different requirements. So for instance, there's a requirement that in townhouse type developments, there's a 25% open space requirement in front of each unit. That's shown both as a diagram and some images are shown as well. The overall goal is, of course, to achieve developments that really fit in with the rural residential character of the town. So that's really the primary focus of these guidelines, to foster developments that are in keeping with that look and feel, both for the commercial side and the residential side, including things like pitched roofs, the orientation of the buildings. And so there is a lot of emphasis on the architectural appearance. That's really kind of the broad overview, but I'm happy to get into any specifics if anybody would like to discuss any of these guidelines in greater detail.
Anybody have any questions?
I do believe we had some comments.
Yeah, so we did receive, I guess, something tonight from the Technical Review Committee. These are from, I believe, Ms. Kleiner. And regarding the supplemental design standards, she's referring to section 120.15.1, which is the general requirements that sidewalks are required. So, number one, sidewalks are required along at least one side of all public or private road frontages where appropriate. Unpaved pathways or trails may serve as an alternative to paved sidewalks. Sidewalks are required to connect public or private road frontage sidewalks to all front buildings, entrances, parking areas, central open space, any other designation that generates pedestrian traffic. Walkways should be designed to facilitate snow removal and mowing of adjacent landscape areas. And number four, where sidewalks and footpaths intersect with roads or drives, crosswalks should be installed to direct pedestrians, alert motorists, and improve visibility. Crosswalks should offer a noticeable change in texture and color. I guess her, Ms. Kleiner's question is who will be responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of these structures? And will the town be responsible for the installation of crosswalks? What will be the process for approval? Would it be the town engineer, the Board of Selectmen, the road agent? So that's...
And
question.
I can
from the
certainly
town.
address some of those comments. I think for the most part, the developments that we would be contemplating are either on the residential side, are either going to be privately owned and managed as rental properties or condominiums. And in both cases, it will be either the owner and their management company or the association who will be maintaining their internal roads, sidewalks, crosswalks, and making all those improvements. To the extent that any improvements were proposed on a public right-of-way, those would require, of course, the site plan overall requires town approval and will be reviewed by the town's engineer, but that would require further approval. As we know, 3A is a state road, and so anything in a state highway would have to be approved by New Hampshire DOT. In the event that that would be proposed at all. Any crosswalk would also, as is always a practice of the board, any of the improvements required are the responsibility of the developer. They're not the responsibility of the town to install. It is possible that an improvement proposed in a public right-of-way could ultimately be the responsibility of the town to maintain. That is possible. Again, realistically, what we would be talking about is 3A, and that would require both DOT approval and then an agreement between the select board and DOT.
It could also be the basis by which we don't approve something if we don't feel like they've thought about that. I mean, when Mr. Charbonneau was here, he talked about wanting to, and in, you know, understanding that you'd need to invest in that crosswalk, if you will, so that he could connect, for that purpose. You know, we have the authority really to review those plans and say, no, right here, right? I mean,
That's right.
from what I see is we have teeth,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I understand the nature of her question and what it boils down to, but I don't think this board is gonna be approving anything that doesn't meet with all of these things that we've asked them to attempt to comply to or with.
I mean, I would say that's right. You know, right now, we already have the multi-use path on Albuquerque. And we have the proposed sidewalk improvements that'll be coming down from the gas station to connect. So realistically, in the northern commercial zone, the only public right-of-way we would realistically be talking about would be 3A. And that would be not only would, of course, the planning board have a say, certainly, but so would the select board, and so would, of course, New Hampshire DOT. So that's, as we know with the sidewalk that's proposed already, that's an involved process.
Do you think there's also consideration for that, her concern with regard to a crosswalk, maybe across to the golf course, across Albuquerque?
I believe that's already planned.
Okay.
Right at the
As part of that.
intersection,
So, no.
isn't there a crosswalk
No.
at the intersection of 3A?
That's with 3A.
No,
not-
that's up
That's-
at 3A.
that's up
I'm
by the
talking
gas
about
station.
further back on Albuquerque.
Not by Albuquerque.
Near,
Oh, I thought there was one shown right across Albuquerque at 3A.
Yeah, at 3A
At
there
3A.
is.
Yeah,
That
at
I
3A.
think, yeah.
I'm talking about that section of Albuquerque from the back side of,
Morgan Road.
yeah, Morgan
Right.
Road across to in between the driving range and the club that's over there, right?
It's possible that that could be proposed, and if it were proposed, it would be, you know, a subject of discussion and review, and it can't just happen. In other words,
Sure.
it would,
But I think her concern probably lies in that, where now all of a sudden we've got all these people who might wanna
Who
cross the
maintains it.
road and,
go to the golf course.
you know, yeah.
Right, yeah, I mean, that's absolutely a concern,
And they're not gonna walk all the way up to 3A,
Right.
cross over and then come down.
I
you
think,
know.
I think the one that has already been talked about that might be more likely is whether or not we've seen that there's potentially a development proposed on the east side of 3A, which we saw, I think at our last meeting or the meeting before, proposed. So there was talk then of would we need a crosswalk across 3A to connect the two developments. So that's possible, and then there was also concerns expressed around that. So there's a possibility that we would see crosswalks proposed, and that's something that would have to be vetted and discussed at that time.
And I think a theoretical situation that this could become more of a concern would be if they, for some reason, tried to get a public road instead of a private road in the development.
Right.
If the developer proposes that, can the town say, no, that should be a private road?
There's a lot of confusion and discussion going on with public road versus private road, because they're going to gate the Morgan Road when it gets up towards 3A, and you can't gate a public road. So they want it to be a private road, but can you have a private road coming out onto Albuquerque? And then there was discussion about, is a private road a driveway? And I think that the answer was no, private road's not a driveway, so it could come out onto Albuquerque. But you can't have a driveway coming out into Albuquerque. So it's a lot up in the air with the roads.
Yeah.
And
but I
it is
think-
possible, there's nothing that says you can't propose a public road
And if it-
within one of these developments, that's absolutely possible.
In which case, then there's that's when these concerns would be more valid, because
Right.
then they could put sidewalks on both sides of the property, and then the road agent might have to maintain those during the wintertime.
Well, yeah, to a point. What the town has to have is a winter maintenance policy. And that has to articulate its policy for winter maintenance.
Would the town be able to designate the adjacent property owner the one responsible for maintaining?
No, by statute, you can't do that.
So, yeah.
So it's possible. It's possible that there could be maintenance on the part of the town.
So I didn't realize there's actually another side to this document. Good thing I looked, because I turned it over, because there was another, and it says here, North End concept at Albuquerque and 3A. And I think this is a question. Is this proposal requesting a variance on the driveway regulations? We have requested to see the legislation creating Albuquerque. Without proper review of the legislation, can't possibly approve this request. What precedent will this set? A liability of creating preferred treatment, potential future drive? Question
Because they're
mark.
concerned about that waiver coming up by the commercial area. If that's a driveway coming out, then they need a waiver onto Albuquerque. And they're very concerned that if you give one waiver, you're gonna be opening up waivers all over.
Opening the door.
So what specific waiver would that be?
Because you can't have driveways onto Albuquerque.
Yeah, I mean, that's really a separate issue from the zoning. That's regarding a conceptual that's proposed. Certainly, in my view, it's not a driveway, it's a street. It's just a private street. A private street is not the same thing as a driveway by definition and by the town's own regulations. So I don't think there's no waiver that would be required.
Is there any specific thing the developer has to do when they build that for it to be a private road and not a driveway?
Have to be the correct width for a road.
Right, it's how it's approved.
And the last thing, gas station, no issue with the plans per se. Need information for the stormwater operation and management plans. Expect requests for the 7/14 board meeting, which has not been provided yet. See letter on portal. Do you know what that's?
We got the drainage report, well, we have a stormwater drainage report on the gas station. And we just got the information on the roadway, alteration of terrain, and the stormwater on that.
Yeah, those were conditions on the conditional approval of
Yeah.
that plan.
Okay.
So back to the driveway versus private road. Is the biggest differentiator gonna be the width of said structure?
No. It's how it's approved. So I'll read you the definition. So we have a definition of a roadway, and that is a road, street, highway, or way intended for vehicular access, either public, in parentheses, state, county, municipal, or private, that is shown on a plat, approved pursuant to law, or as approved by any other official action. And then we have a definition, so a roadway can be either public or private. It can be municipal, county, state, or private. A roadway comma, private is defined as a private road which is depicted on a subdivision plan approved by the Litchfield Planning Board, is designed and constructed to town standards, is guaranteed to remain open in perpetuity, and whose permanent maintenance is governed by covenants approved as part of the subdivision approval. So, that's, again, roadway can be public or private. A private roadway specifically has a maintenance guarantee that is part of the approval. So it says a covenant, but that would mean it's going to be in a homeowners association document, it's going to be embedded in the approval, so that's how that would be
Well,
managed.
the paper definition, not really a physical difference between the two.
There's no physical difference because we do require that a private road is built by town standard.
Gotcha.
You know, town standard. And then we have a specific definition of driveway, which is different than a road, obviously. Driveway is a physical structure intended as a dedicated, temporary or permanent means of ingress or egress to a property or place. And then, again, for the purpose of these regulations, access from a public or private roadway is being regulated. So again, we contemplate that we have roadways and we have driveways that go from a roadway into a property.
Well, I think the key differentiator, besides a named sign that says it's a road, it would be on the plan itself and how we see it, because I think there were several variations of the plan that we saw, to your point, Jeremy, I think where there was just ingress and egress coming in and out of a thing, which would imply a driveway. So we'll have to be mindful of that when we
Absolutely, and I make those
See that.
those distinctions because a roadway has to be built to town road standards, and a driveway has to be built to the town's driveway standards, and those are separate regulations. So
In one of the earlier conceptuals that we got from Rick Charbonneau, there was a driveway on that one.
Absolutely.
Because it was one road out, and then just a little while, just up the road, there was another one into the commercial space on the top. So
Yeah.
they're gonna have to, in the final one, have one driveway or one private road there that can service both of them instead of one each.
And I think we did see that in later iterations. I'm almost positive that he
yeah,
had them trail through.
yeah. To me, it looked as though there was a horseshoe kind of.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
definitely a private road, and then there were driveways going off of that accessed the parking areas and the rear of the units. That's how I would have, but it's a concept plan at that
Yeah.
level. It's not fleshed out.
Yeah, so it's basically just gonna be up to our judgment to make sure that it's a road that is, obviously the engineering review to make sure it's up
Right.
to this private road standards, and if it looks like it's just entering into a parking lot, that blurs it a bit, because that's just a well-constructed driveway at that point.
Yeah, we don't wanna set that precedent either.
That's right.
That'd be bad.
And we want
So
to
her
be
point is
careful.
very well taken.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely, and then we want to be careful to which standard
Yeah.
it's constructed, to make sure that we've got safe access, including for emergency vehicles to all the units. So that's going to be really critical.
It might, that's part of the regulations that created Albuquerque, it's not part of these regulations. And the worst case scenario, those regulations make it a little less convenient to design the commercial part, but that's okay. That's old regulations that are there for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, protecting the integrity of Albuquerque has always been a priority in the
Yeah,
town.
for this town,
Right.
yeah.
No driveway stops anyone from backing onto Albuquerque pretty much, so there's
Right.
very much like random, no stopping, just as traffic goes through.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a good thing to have and keep it that way, so.
That's right. We want to keep it that way.
Okay. So Joan, I mean, I don't know, do you have anything else to add regarding the comments that Kim provided regarding
No,
the
they were
supplemental design
back from
standards?
July, so, no, I just wanted to bring them up.
Okay.
What was that, the bottom one about maintenance, on the bottom of the first page?
Gas station, first page?
State, I think, Who will be responsible for maintenance and upkeep of these structures? Will the town be responsible for installation of crosswalks? What will be the process of approval? Town engineer, board of selectmen, road agent. I think she put state question mark maintenance, maybe? Not sure if that's a question mark or something else. Looks like. So,
Well, I think that has been answered by the, at the gas station. The applicant's going to put the crosswalk in, but the town's going to maintain it.
right, okay. Okay. Anything else on, design guidelines? Anybody have anything else to add, Jay? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I know we've reviewed this a couple times. Does everyone satisfied with what we've produced here as a working document?
And I think we did get a fair amount of public comment. We did have, folks coming, including potential developers to
Yeah.
our meetings.
Yeah. Okay. So this is was it the first public hearing or second?
It's the first
First
there
one.
doesn't need to be a second one. It's really up to you.
So tonight we can approve this
Yes.
if everyone is good.
Adopted.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, this is a public hearing, obviously. I'll open up to public comment. Any members of the public comment on this draft? And I don't see anybody here this evening. So I'm gonna close public input and bring it to the board. What do you guys want to do? You want to approve it? Want to accept it? Make a motion?
Make a motion?
Mhm.
Mr. Chair, I, make a motion that we approve the
Adopt, yeah,
adopt. Thank you.
sorry.
That we adopt the site plan regulations, section 120.15 supplemental design guidelines for the mixed-use village development alternative, as well as the site plan regulations, section 120.14.
Well, actually, we haven't really
One at a
addressed that
time?
one. I think we're just doing the supplemental design first, then we'll go
Okay,
into,
so stop
Oxford, I'm
at
sorry. Yeah, so
Mixed-use
just the
village
first one.
Development alternative.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Letha, I have a second by Jared. Any further discussion on the design regulations? Site plan regulations for section 120.15 supplemental design guidelines for the mixed-use village development alternative. All right, if there's no further discussion, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of adopting section 120.15 supplemental design guidelines for the mixed-use village development alternative, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 6-0-0. Okay, now we'll move on to number 2, which is the regulations, section 120.14 off-street parking and loading, and I'll turn it over to Jay.
All right. Scroll down to that. I need to scroll up. Scroll up. Sorry for the flashing. So, this is really coming from these proposed amendments come from a few different places. So first of all, it's a very, very substantial amendment to the existing parking requirements. So I'm not going to run through each one of them. I know we have also in some detail. But overall, there were really a few things that were driving this. One, changes both to state law and changes that I think became necessary, or the need for which became necessary just through the process of reviewing multifamily developments. So I'll get to those last. But the other drivers were really twofold. One was to try to create standards that are a little bit more measurable and that apply to different uses of the same building as it changes over time. So what that essentially means is to try to get away from regulations based on the number of employees or the number of employees on the largest shift in favor of a square footage-based requirement that, again, is just much more easily measured. So there were several places in the ordinance where it was based on employees. So all of those were proposed to be changed to square footage, with a couple of exceptions where it didn't really make sense. So that was really a big driver, and the other driver was trying to make sure that the parking requirements are designed to make sure that we have adequate parking, but not an excessive amount of parking, so that we're not encouraging unnecessary pavement, a more impervious area, more stormwater management related issues. And so to kind of get there, we reviewed the parking regulations of several surrounding what I'd call comparable communities to kind of get a gauge as to where people are. And what I found there was a lot of commonality. There were definitely outliers in every direction. But in similarly situated communities, there was a lot of commonality, and we were able to take those and apply them here where necessary. In some cases, we didn't change the standard. In other cases, we did. And then there are a couple of areas where there were a couple of uses that just realistically we're never going to see in Litchfield. And having a standard for a marina, as an example, just kind of doesn't make sense. Let's pare it down a little bit. So most of the changes were really along those lines. Again, they were significant because there were just so many of our standards were based on something that was really hard to measure. And so that happened in almost every section. And then when it comes to multifamily housing, there were really a couple of things that we saw. First of all, the only area where we regulated the size of a parking space was for multifamily. I'm not sure why. And the size of those parking spaces was very large. It was 12 by 18, which is, much wider than would be typical, that we typically see. Also, garages are not required, but if you had one, it had to be a two-car garage. And that just didn't make a whole lot of sense. And as we've seen, I think your typical townhouse development, if it has a garage, it's a one-car garage pretty typically. So we proposed changing that. And then finally, this is where the changes in state law come to play. Based on a recent change in state law, we cannot require more than one parking space per residential unit. I think we all appreciate that that's not adequate, and I can't imagine no developer is going to propose. I can't imagine a developer proposing one parking space per unit. But nevertheless, that's the statute, and so we can't require more. Also, a statutory change that happened last year, an applicant is allowed to propose an alternative parking solution. So we do have to have that language in the ordinance, and what that essentially means is they can provide some or all of their required parking off-site. Through some sort of arrangement. That's really not realistically something that we could see. We would likely see in Litchfield. That really applies more to urban areas where they have public parking. But there are scenarios where it could be possible on a mixed-use site where perhaps you're sharing parking or proposing to share parking with a commercial use. So I don't want to say it'll never happen. I don't think it's really very likely. But it's language we have to include in our parking regulations because it's an option that's allowed. So those are really the changes. Again, there are a lot of them, but that's kind of the essence of them.
Okay. Any questions? So another comment by the town administrator regarding this new particular statute that took effect in January 25. And the question is, does the wording, number 2, agreement with a rideshare company to provide transportation to the occupants of the proposed residential use, 3, availability of public transportation, including fixed route bus service within a quarter of a mile of the proposed residential use, or number 4, location in a district officially designated in the master plan or zoning ordinance in which there is adequate walkability infrastructure, really apply?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't. It's just we just took the language directly out of the statute and put it in here. Does it apply? No, not to Litchfield. At least not in the near future.
Yeah. So this is a this is just a comment on the document that we got in 2 meetings ago. The non-red line version still has a few crossed out things that will have to be filtered out
Oh,
in the final thing. Like obviously, it's not a substantive change. That's
okay, that's a
So-
good catch.
before we just send that out. Unless there's a later one that.
I'll make sure I glean it.
On the one from this week?
Is there one on today's portal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one doesn't
the
have
one-
any.
Page 2.
I think I caught those and
Page
got
3.
them out of here, but yeah.
I'll take a look.
They shouldn't be in the one that's,
Okay, yeah, that looks good.
yeah, it took a little bit of a catch. The reason for that is because, it wasn't done, through track changes. It was manually done. That's why some of them still stuck in there. Cause if you do it with track changes, it becomes this unreadable. It's too much. Every indent.
Oh, there's
every-
one of them's remaining.
Uh-oh.
Section 4E.
Oh, there's an or.
Oh,
Yeah, wow.
Fabulous,
That's a good catch. Get a circle,
eye
that-
doctor, yeah.
Over here.
gonna circle that now.
Awesome.
So that's obviously a non-substantive change.
And I think, forgive me, under the parking recommendations, section 120.2, I guess, Kim was asking, are we complying with RSA 674-16? Because it says, number 7, in its exercise of the powers granted under this subdivision, the local legislative body of a city, town, or county in which there are located unincorporated towns or unorganized places may regulate accessory parking for vehicles, but shall not require more than 1.5 residential parking spaces per unit for studio and one-bedroom units under 1,000 square feet that meet the requirements for workforce housing under RSA 67458-4, shall not require more than 1.5 residential parking spaces per unit for multifamily developments of 10 units or more.
That was the prior statute.
Okay,
What's now in effect is 1.
okay,
That's what it was last year.
got it, okay.
And who knows, it might be different next year.
Okay. Figured I'd have that in there. Okay.
There were also, interestingly, a couple of different ones that passed, but, yeah, they got reconciled.
Anything else? for parking?
So we feel her concerns have been addressed?
I think so. I mean, these were comments that were provided by
Okay.
the town administrator, I think the technical review committee, those are the
Okay.
people that want to make sure that, you know,
Right.
everything was,
And we did have the 1.5 language in our earlier draft, and then we changed it to 1.
okay. Jay, anything else that you wanna mention about this? Okay.
Okay.
So I guess at this time, I open up to public comment. It's a public hearing. Anybody have any public comment this evening? And I don't see anybody in the audience, in the gallery here, so I guess I will close public comment. And I guess bring it back to the board. What does the board like to do? Did you wanna adopt away?
Exception of that
Or,
non-substantive change. in
Okay,
F. No, E, 4E. The word or
okay.
was struck.
Oh, okay. Public funds. Okay. All right, so if anybody wants to make a motion, we could certainly do that.
Does the or need to be mentioned at all in the motions?
I think we already had the reference to 4E, so we could say the or in 4E, but yeah.
Someone else like to make it, or shall I?
You got
It's
it.
all yours.
Make a motion to adopt the proposed site plan regulation section 120.14 off-street parking and loading. With the proposed amendment to remove the struck out or.
Okay, I have a motion by Jared, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jesse. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of adopting the regulations for section 120.14 off-street parking and loading, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, those abstained. Motion passes 6-0-0. Okay, thank you.
Next,
Good
we
job.
can start worrying about zoning.
That's right.
That's already.
Well, it has to-
Thanks,
It's the
Jay,
end of
for
August.
everything on that.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you,
And
Jay.
duplex has got to be a common law from the basement to the attic.
All those red line versions he had.
Yeah, I
Right.
know. Poor Jay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, the 47 page.
All right. So, next item on the agenda this evening is committee reports. Any reports from any committees? I guess I'll start with you, Jeremy. How's economic development?
So I had a medical issue last meeting, and Jay was there. So Jay, why don't you take it away on the economic development committee?
I thought it was a good meeting. There was really a lot of discussion was spent on kind of framing, the final report and what that's going to look like. But I thought there were some really good substantive conversations. So there is a next meeting coming up next week. I think it's next week. So I will not be able to be at that meeting. But I think the group is really starting to make some significant progress and kind of working through the charge that is in front of the committee and kind of trying to make sure that all the boxes are crossed off.
Okay. And the NRPC meeting is September 15th, is that?
Full commission, yes,
Commission meeting
yes.
at Nashua. Okay,
An executive committee tomorrow night.
and the executive committee tomorrow night. Okay. Any other updates from NRPC, anything?
I mean, I would just note that I don't know how many people follow the 10-year plan process, but that is ongoing. And the way the process works is the Regional Planning Commission solicits projects from all of our communities, and it goes through a process of vetting, and we go through looking at we actually hire an engineer to review costs, and ultimately rank and prioritize the projects, make a recommendation for new projects to be added in the last 2 years of the 10-year plan. And what has happened is that the dollars available statewide do not support any new projects. So none of the projects that were proposed and voted on by the Regional Planning Commission have made it into the 10-year plan. And in addition to that, projects that are already in the 10-year plan have been moved out, are recommended to be moved out of the 10-year plan. And the primary reason for this is just the escalation in the cost of projects, which is 30% to 40%. So many projects that are now kind of moving up in the queue were proposed years ago, and we've had very, very significant inflation, particularly in construction materials and labor. So that's the reality that we're looking at now. That's what's going to get presented to our Transportation Technical Advisory Committee tomorrow. One of the fatalities is the Corning Road intersection improvement on 3A that is getting moved out of the 10-year plan altogether.
Okay.
Which is certainly most unfortunate. We hope it will come back in, at some point. Now, I have to say, this is simply the recommendation of the Department of Transportation to Governor and Council. Governor and Council can recommend projects get added and projects get taken back and priorities shift. And the legislature can do the same thing. The governor can do the same thing. But my experience has been that the draft that the DOT submits is very, very close to what ultimately gets adopted. And it's usually one or two hot button items that kind of dominate the conversation, and those might shift. And that's probably not the intersection of Corning Road and 3A.
No.
Probably not. So we'll see where it goes, but I think it's a pretty sobering reality for where we are fiscally.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe there'll be some movement on the revenue side, but I don't really expect to see that either. That is one of the pushes that will be out there, as you know, increasing toll revenues, increasing tolls. But I don't know that that's really going to succeed this time around, or what it would realize, because those,
It's been $1 for as long as I can remember.
right. But tolls can only be spent on the turnpike system. So the only projects that would benefit from an increase in tolls would either be turnpike projects that are currently there that might get advanced, or more likely, a proposal to expand the turnpike system to include, say, the Bow Concord improvements, to actually increase the size of it so that a project that's outside of the turnpike system might fall within it. But those are the only benefits, because you can't use that toll revenue anywhere else. So I don't see a gas tax happening. So, yeah. It'll be very interesting, but it was not something any of us anticipated when this whole process started. Needless to say. But there we are. And I think it's a reality that anybody who's been dealing with construction on the town side too, town-related projects and roads improvements, the costs have just gone up so much in the past few years that it's hard not to say, yeah, that's where we are. So.
Very good. The Capital Improvement Committee met yesterday at the fire station. We had presentations from the library and the Conservation Commission. Next meeting is going to be September 5th, I'm sorry. When is the next one? Is it the 15th? Why am I saying? Or maybe it is the night of the NRPC meeting. It could be. But, yeah, I think it is the 15th.
That's it.
I just realized that. That's why it
Is
was.
that a Wednesday?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a Monday.
Or Monday. No,
Yeah.
the 15th is
Oh,
Monday.
yeah. I'm sorry,
Paul
and
last night,
NRPC
Paul said it was booked.
And
Okay.
so it's the
NRPC is
17th. Okay, I was like, that's why that was throwing me off. Okay, now I understand. Yeah, so our next meeting is the 15th at the fire station. We'll have the Recreation Commission coming in, and I believe the school is going to present their capital projects. So we had an interesting discussion last night. I know you weren't there, Jay, about impact fees. So expect some more discussion about that when you come to our meeting. We kind of missed you on that because you might have helped with some questions that were being asked. So that you're
I was
professionals.
sitting on a plane coming back from the West Coast, but I definitely thought about you guys.
Okay. I know you did. I know you did. I appreciate that. The Conservation Commission met, was it last Thursday? Oh, no, actually, we met on Friday. Special meeting. We approved the closing on the DeRocher property,
It closed Monday.
18th. So that was a long time coming, long process on that. And the Lower Merrimack Local River Advisory Committee meetings, next meeting is August 28th at Nashua City Hall at 7 PM. Or, no, 6 o'clock, I'm sorry. So I will be attending that. And that's all I have for committee reports. Approval of the July 15, 2025 minutes. Did everyone have an opportunity to take a look at those? Have any questions, amendments, concerns? Thought they looked pretty good. Someone caught something that I didn't. Possible. And if anybody wants to entertain a motion to approve them, go at it.
I'll make a motion to approve the Litchfield Planning Board July 15th meeting minutes.
Okay. Do I have a second? I have a motion by Jeremy. Do I have a second to the motion?
And second that.
Second by Jared. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the July 15th, 2025 minutes for the Litchfield Planning Board, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained.
Abstain.
Abstained, okay, so motion passes 5-0-1. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Any other business this evening? Jay, do you have anything?
I do not.
Joan?
The next meeting is September 2nd.
Next meeting is September 2nd, okay. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up this evening? Okay. Well, with that, I think that concludes our public business for this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A motion by Jeremy, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 6-0-0. Thank you for joining us this evening. We'll see you